much. Allow me to breathe, especially after listening to Brenda explaining the sentiments. I want to believe that the president wants something done. And we as Kenyans, looking at the current situation, we also want something done. The question is, at what point are we going to be together? The president wants the bill to be passed because he is the president. And basically, we believe that he has a game plan on the same. But we also Kenyans are feeling that the cost of living is too high. So if this bill passes, then by the end of the day, the cost of living is going to get higher. So therefore, we are waiting. All of us are waiting. The president is waiting for the bill to pass. And there are those who are waiting for the bill to pass, and then what next? And there is this Kenyan who is waiting for whether if the bill passes or it doesn't pass, but the cost of living should go down, you see? So I think the concept is, where are we going to get to a point of consensus, all of us, the president, the legislatures, and also the Kenyans? So for the betterment of the every Mwananchi who voted or who did not vote for this government.
Well, Mr. John, I'd want to hear from you and know exactly, because we do know they have the majority. The Kenya Kwanza side do have the majority. It's only safe to say that the chances of the bill going through in a scale of 1 to 10 is around 7 or 8. Now, can something be done? Okiya Mtata has gone to court and he says if this bill passes, it contravenes 30 different articles or sections of the Constitution. Is there something that can be done to counter this bill outside Parliament?
Outside Parliament, the Constitution has a clause that talks about public participation, where the committee of that is handling the bill in the Parliament will have to go out there and listen to Mwananchi. But the bigger question that maybe allow me to take you back a little bit. Every time the president sits on that seat and we vote for him, sometimes he has the question of what do I need to achieve, or will I make up my promises? And the question is, where am I going to get the resources? So there are various ways of a country creating its own capital. And at this point, what option does he have? That is a bigger question. If we would decide, if one of the options would be, I want to build roads, I want to build schools, I want to do everything else. And if you go to the bank and you have a 50 by 100, by the end of the day, the bank is going to give you some amount. And if the bank can give you $1 million, then what about with the country? You can get a lot of loans from people who are willing to, bodies that are willing to give you loans. But you may decide, what if we build our own capital? And that is where the president, though in a very radical manner, considering the cost of living today, is saying it is time for this country to build its own capital rather than relying on loans. You know, right now, the mirrors are almost going to court because they have not been paid money that was subsidized to reduce the cost of unga on the previous government. So that happens to be like a loan. Where will the government get the 47 or so billion to pay the millers, and yet the unga is still high? So the subsidy program was short-lived. So the bigger question is, what option does the president have?
From whatever you're talking about, Mr. John, it paints a picture of, do we borrow or do you tax?
Correct.
And I want to come to you, Brenda, because there's the question of, and politicians have been talking about it, you cannot overtax your citizens to prosperity. Now, the president is trying to reduce borrowing And he said, during the last address to the members of the press, he said, his aim is to reduce borrowing by at least half. But now, on this other hand, there's the question of overtaxing citizens. Where's the line drawn? Is it right for him, or is it in order for him? Because Mr. Jones says, sort of, his hands are tied. He has no option. But do you overtax at the expense of not borrowing? Because at the end of the day, like the president says, if you borrow, there's interest that it accrues, which you have to pay. But on the other hand, taxing by introducing new taxes, because it's not only the 8% on fuel, but there are other punitive taxes that, as punitive as the opposition calls it. Is it the way to go?
First, let me say, according to what I've heard my friends saying here, let me just tell you first, I've learned that the Kenya Kwanza people, they are speaking about, they are more concerned about the president, while I am more concerned about Mwananchi.